You, sir, you picked a page number completely at random. She picked the second name on the page. What was it? Mariko. I do a lot of tricks on stage that make it look like I have psychic powers, but I don't. I do not have any psychic powers. In fact, I am convinced that psychic powers do not even exist. You say, well, then how are psychics able to tell you things they should have no way of knowing? Well, there are many principles they use, but the most important one is this. They ask lots of questions and listen carefully to the answers. For example, if you call a telephone psychic, what is the first thing they do? They ask you which credit card you'll be using. Don't they know? How hard can that be? There are only 4. 40% of transactions are Visa. Any moron can get that right almost half the time. And then they want to know your credit card number and expiration date. Why don't they know those already? Simple. They would have to be psychic to know those things. I thought it was hilarious several years ago when the Psychic Friends television network went bankrupt. Shouldn't they have seen that coming? Why didn't Miss Cleo know she was about to be indicted for fraud? Because these people are anything but psychic. They just ask lots and lots of questions and listen very carefully to the answers. Several years ago, I was invited to be the after-dinner entertainer at a convention near San Antonio, Texas. But the meeting planner, for entertainment purposes, had hired a couple of local fortune tellers to come to the banquet and during the cocktail hour before dinner, tell the fortunes of the guests. After all the paying attendees had had their opportunity, I decided to try an experiment. I saw one of the ladies seated alone, and so I walked over to her and sat down across from her. She was wearing a Swami hat and her full Sears regalia. She had a crystal ball and a deck of 52 playing cards on the table. She said, "How are you?" I said, "Fine." She glanced down, saw my wedding ring. She said, "I see you're married. Do you have any children?" I said, "You tell me." She didn't answer. She just glared at me like, "Oh, you're one of those." She shuffled her cards, dealt 3 face down, and the 4th one face up. It was a queen of spades. She said, "Ah, there's a dark-haired woman in your life." I said, "Really? What's her phone number?" She said, I don't know her phone number. I said, "Well, what's her name?" She said, I don't know her name. I said, "Well, look, my wife has dark hair, my daughter has dark hair, my mother has dark hair, my 3 sisters all have dark hair. I mean, who are you talking about?" She said, "You're supposed to fill that in." I said, "Well, how am I supposed to do that unless you give me more information?" She didn't like that answer. She dealt 3 more cards face down, flipped the 4th one, it was a king of clubs. She said, "Ah, there's an older man that's been something of a mentor to you in life." I said, "What's his social security number?" She said, I don't know. I said, "What's his address? At least give me some initials. I've been fortunate enough to have several men like that in my life. Which one are you talking about?" She said, "I don't know." Well, within about 3 minutes, this old lady was on the verge of tears, and I'm way too kind-hearted for my own good, so I just politely excused myself and left. I was not playing the game. She was supposed to ask the questions, and I was supposed to give the answers. She was supposed to drop hints, and I was supposed to fill in all of the details, and when I didn't, she was helpless. Now, if you go to a local psychic, the first thing they will do is ask you, "Why have you come?" Now, if it's a wise guy like me, I'm going to say, "You tell me. You're the psychic." But most people don't. They spill their guts. "Oh, it's my boyfriend, Charlie." And the psychic gives a knowing nod and says, "Yes, I sensed when you walked through the door that this would be about someone named Charlie. Please do not be afraid. I am merely a tool through which this power flows. He broke your heart, didn't he? Oh, how did you know?" Oh! The psychic keeps asking question after question after question. The client keeps giving answer after answer after answer. And after 20 minutes of this nonsense, all the psychic has to do is paraphrase it all back to the person, make a few common sense observations, throw in a little bit of advice and a few vague predictions about the future, and the person leaves saying, "It was a miracle. She even knew my boyfriend's name before I came through the door." Now, if you're going to be a great leader, and especially if you're going to be a great salesperson, which I assume you want to be, you are going to have to learn the same set of skills, but from a completely different set of motives. Psychics ask lots and lots of questions because they want to fleece their customer more thoroughly. Effective salespeople ask lots and lots of questions so that they can serve their client more efficiently and more effectively, or at least to find out there's no sale to be made here. If there was ever a day when a great salesperson was marked by his or her ability to fast talk somebody out of their cash, that day is long since and forever gone. Great salespeople today are not marked by their silver tongues, but by their open ears. They are marked by an inquisitive mind. They believe in asking lots of questions and listening carefully to the answers. I hope that you are aware that your customers will tell you almost every single detail you need to know to make a sale to them if you will just ask enough good questions and shut up long enough to listen to their answers. Another thing psychics do is they answer questions with questions. Psychics rarely answer a question directly. It's too risky. If you say, "Oh, what should I do about my boyfriend, Charlie?" the psychic is not going to touch that question with a 10-foot pole. It's too dangerous. Suppose she said, "I sense that you should marry him, love him, live with him forever." And you reply, "But he just went to prison for 20 years. Or he beats me up all the time." And so the psychic says, "I know the answer, but I sense that you already know in your heart what the answer is too, don't you? What does your heart tell you?" And they let you talk for a while. And then they say, "Yes, but I sense a cosmic struggle between your heart and your head. What does the more practical, logical side of you say?" And let you talk some more. And then they say, "I sense also that there's a struggle with your friends and your family. The people that love you most have some strong opinions. What are they saying?" And after you've given them the right answer, then they turn around and give it back to you. You need to learn this skill because otherwise you wind up talking yourself out of sales. It can be done. You can have a sale in the books and talk yourself right out of it. In the Bible, Samson slew 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass. I knew a salesperson once who killed twice that many sales with the very same instrument. I talked myself out of a sale once. It's been 10 or 12 years. And I'm a sales trainer. I know better. I was talking with a CEO on the telephone about my ability to come in and fire up his sales force or his customer service staff or his management team. I don't remember what it was, but he was interested, and I was going in for the close. I was reeling him in. And then he asked a question, and I did the stupidest thing. I answered it. It seemed so safe. He said, "Do you use humor in your presentations?" I thought, man, if ever there was a low-hanging curve on the outside of the plate, this is it. So I swung for the fences. I said, "Yes! I like to keep them laughing throughout." You know what he said? "Well, that wouldn't work for us then." He said, "We're a very serious corporation and we like to keep on our game face when we have a meeting." Now what am I supposed to say? Well, I could work up something serious for you. I'm not saying you can never dig yourself out of a hole. I'm saying the wise salesperson doesn't dig the hole in the first place. Customers love to say, "Oh, you poor little thing, you dug a hole for yourself. Here, let me help you in." What should I have done? I should have answered his question with a question. I should have said, "Oh, is humor important to you?" Let him give me the right answer. And then I could quite honestly and ethically say, "I take great pride in customizing my every presentation to meet the exact need of the client."